Hi guys, hi everyone. So we're all here today. In to informally discuss in the way of a panel discussion, like how it happens in the news is uh, on today's topic of Janata Curfew. So the whole aim of this initiative, initiated by me and my brother Ganesh, is to bring about new ideas, viewpoints, and give a platform for anyone, in fact, to discuss about these viewpoints and to encourage people to come out and act and actively be a part of such discussions rather than just passively post statuses and things like that. So this is the whole initiative. I hope initiative moves forward and people take part in it more. And I hope we're able to bring in much better speakers, uh, better viewpoints, people from different areas, different from people backgrounds. So yeah. So my name is Shravan, and I'm a third year MBBS student at MBJ Medical College. I will be acting as the moderator for today's session. So I would like each one of you to introduce yourselves, starting from Koushik.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Koushik Sridhar. I'm a class 12 student. I was on the verge of finishing my 12th, but it's been affected by the pandemic coronavirus. So our exams will be, we have only a few papers to go, but it'll be on the first week of April. So
Kaushik, if
then
you
I'll be
could,
done.
yeah, Kaushik,
Yeah.
if you could tell us the school and also that you're a musician and you.
I'll come to it. So I'm from National Public School in Janata, Bangalore, and I'm a musician. So I play the mridangam, the South Indian drum, and I play a lot of other percussions too, including the drums and all those things. And as a musician also, I've been affected by coronavirus. So yeah, that's
So
about
Kaushik, yeah, so Kaushik will be giving his viewpoints in a moment. So next, Arun, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Arun. So I'm a student of IIT Dharwad. I'm pursuing BTech in electrical engineering. I'm in third year now. I'm from Dharwad itself, so a localite. Recently, as I put up in the group, I have been seeing a lot of things going on, not regarding only coronavirus, but there are many things. So I'm kind of interested. I in free time I'm just forming opinions in my head, but at the end of the day, as you said, as Shravan said, it's passive. It's just I form opinion on my head. I don't tell it to anyone. I don't discuss it. It just ends there. It's just frame and put it in dustbin. So that's why this discussion might give me an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're really interested into such topics and you regularly form opinions. So we'll be very excited to hear your opinions also, Arun. So Ganesh, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi people, I'm Ganesh, so the brother. So, well, I am an IIT Dharwad student, BTech Electrical Engineering. So, yes, even I believe that there are a lot of things going on, and there's not really a platform which is there to express student views. So, this is one such where I guess it'll be really helpful in expressing all our concerns and our viewpoints.
Okay, so yes, so really excited. So today, I completely forgot. Although I'm a moderator, I will also be talking on behalf of my friend Ranjini. So she's actually she's my class. She was my classmate. I also studied in NPS Indranagar, and she currently is a student in Hokkaido University in Japan. So I did want to bring her also into the discussion today, but sadly she is unavailable to come live on the discussion. Rather, I will be reading out a few of her viewpoints, and I think that will be very interesting too. So yeah, so today's discussion we will basically put it. We shall base it on the term Janata Curfew as brought forth by our Prime Minister, Sir Narendra Modi. So So I think I will first come and give my Ranjini's viewpoints on Janata Curfew. So after I give the viewpoint, the next we can have a small discussion with all of you if you have any questions. I'm getting a slight echo. Can you guys just make sure your earphones are in place? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. So, speaking on behalf of Ranjini, who's from who's studying in Hokkaido University in Japan, she feels that the curfew might not be of that much use as Narendra Modi ji feels. She feels that the cleanliness of the society and the area plays equally major role when it comes to prevention of the spread of the virus as just compared to just putting a curfew. She feels this because as Indians, we all can accept that we are not the most conscious when it comes to hygienic practices to be followed when sneezing or coughing. And also at the same time, if you look at it, there is this habit in certain stratas of our society, especially in those people who chew tobacco, who tend to spit on roadsides and walls. So all these things put together does not help to reduce the task of keeping the surroundings clean. And coming to her opinion of the Japanese government, she feels that the Japanese government needs to be a little more proactive and a little more rigorous. Should take a little more rigorous measures when it comes to the coronavirus spread. Although she says that they did declare a national emergency, it just made the situation worse because people started to do panic buying and hoarding of essential items. So what she means by proactive is that she wants the Japanese government to pick up and increase the testing of people who show symptoms of the disease, and also take little more stringent precautions to prevent the community spread of the disease. So these are Ranjini's viewpoints. So do any of you have any questions or any opinions on her viewpoints?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me, Arun.
Yeah, I'll start with cleanliness and curfew point. So, as most people know, Japan is one of the most disciplined country in this world. So, the cleanliness, when you compare Japan and India, it varies a lot. And there are major factors why, like, I'll in fact cover this point also, that Japanese government is not like proactive and all. For India, this is a very big outbreak, very big kind of situation. But when you look at Japan, Japan has faced situations like this some 3 or 4 times in past. One example is the nuclear tragedy which took place in 2011, 1945 bombings. So Japan has constantly faced this problem. So the magnitude of difference of reactions that you see from Indian people as well as from Japanese people is different. So there might be a bit of this confusion, but I don't know much like how much they are working or doing the things. They are like planning Olympics and also I don't have much knowledge, but I feel this is the reason why the government, why she can't identify that government is taking precautions or not, because in India when it's like they're just there, you can see the difference. You can see people working when there is a shift in magnitude. When in Japan, they might be doing this thing, but they might be doing this thing in a continuous manner. It's not a discrete shift. So if it's continuous manner, it's very difficult to observe the shift. So that are my viewpoints on Japan's government not taking any proactive decisions or on cleanliness and curfew, because
those are really three really good points. That is, one is the magnitude of the reaction. That is, how the Japanese government will react will be very different from how the Indian government will react. And also, like you said, the shift from the normalcy to a state of, community health prevention measures is almost flawless, you would say, because of the number of times they have gone through this procedure. And you're also saying the situations in which they are implementing is different. That is, in Japan, the people are comparatively more civilized. I wouldn't put it in that way that will make Indians sound uncivilized. I won't put it like that. But just that
it's a more of a discipline factor.
Yeah, disciplined, exactly. Like Koushik put it, it's a more disciplined area over there where people are very educated. So maybe for them to follow the rules, it will be much more easier. So maybe the steps Narendra Modi government is taking, like you said, is for an Indian mindset, for an Indian area, and for to prevent the spread in India. Koushik, Ganesh, do you have any viewpoints?
Okay, go ahead.
Can we?
Okay. Koushik can speak to
Koushik, okay, I'll listen to Kaushik's viewpoint.
So actually, there are two factors which I would like to cross upon. So the first one is even though Japan has gone through a lot of tragic instances in the past, the thing is, I think the typology of the pandemics have been very different. For example, they have most of their destruction has been on the physical side. For example, a bombing or a nuclear or even a tsunami. Japan is known for tsunamis, right? It's on the coast. But I think a virus attack is much more than all this because first of all it spreads fast and it's a person-to-person thing, and it can happen in any way because especially with the COVID-19 which spreads through droplets. I think it's a very different way they should handle it, and they should look upon it in a much different manner. It's not like a situation that can be faced like before. For example, we can take that Japanese earthquakes have also been very powerful, and due to this, they had ideas of building paper houses, which became very popular for them to rebuild or reconstruct them easier. But I don't think that works for a virus because it's more of a scientific and a faster spreading a pandemic. So that's my first point. And the second point is about the population density. When you look in differences between countries like India and Japan, I think in India the population density is it's way higher than what Japan would be. So I think the differences in ideas, opinions, policies of both the governments would vary very much according to that. For example, in India, we had this thing that, of course, around the world, phones are some of the most common used items. And the caller tune of the coronavirus, which would have irritated all the person for the past 2-3 weeks, I think it's a very good initiative also in a way, so that each and every citizen who uses a phone, I think that's 1.2 billion people in the country who use mobile phones or smartphones, can at least get an idea of that. Okay, fine. There's this. I mean, even the uneducated people in the rural areas, to make a call also, they would be like when they get the phone, they will be like. The caller tune would start. Okay, there's something called coronavirus. It's going to spread, so we got to be careful while sneezing. Avoid touching your ears, nose, etc. Eyes, nose, and etc. So to reach out to people, I think that was a very good initiative, and I don't think Japan government really needs to do that because the population density is very low. With a few slogans and a few social stuff, I think that can be so. That's one.
Okay, so Koushik, maybe if I can summarize your viewpoint, is that you mean to say that physical disaster is different from a biological disaster, and both of them require their different means and measures of prevention and proactiveness to prevent any further destruction or damage. That is one point which you said. The second point you said is that the caller tune which you have when each time you call has served a major purpose in being able to educate people, which need not be necessary in a highly educated country like Japan. So that's what you mean to say. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Ganesh, what is your viewpoint?
Well, apart from these, my major viewpoint was on the fact that regarding the Japan's population, not the density per se, but the fact that I feel Japan should be a little bit more proactive with respect to their COVID-19 protection measures, because one third of the population of Japan is above 65. And we know that the virus is definitely something which where above 65 people are really susceptible to, and bringing down one third of the population would adversely affect the country, be it even as highly as educated a country as Japan. So that was the major point I would like to put across. So I feel that yes, Japan should be more proactive and ensure that there is this part of the population which needs a lot of attention from the government, and see that they're well protected and it doesn't affect them a lot.
So, Ganesh, to summarize your point, you mean to say that the Japanese population, the age variation is different compared to the Indian population. So, Japanese government should be taking more proactive measures to prevent the spread, because it will affect a major chunk of their population, which is an aging population. So that is. So I think from this discussion and on Ranjini's viewpoints, we are actually getting a lot of mixed. Yeah, tell me, Arun. I'm so sorry.
Koushik mentioned that there's a difference between physical and biological disasters. I do agree with that, but the sense in which I referred to those problems was Japan is kind of ready to face those problems. It's the magnitude of destruction what occurs. It might be physical, it might be biological. So in that sense, I referred. So that's it. So
that's great.
Yeah, if you could just conclude her viewpoint so that we'll move into the topic of Indian with respect to India.
So this was more of a Japanese and overall a very vague discussion, not much focused towards Janata curfew. So a quick summary is, one, like Arun said, is how well prepared the Japanese are for any disaster because of their previous experiences with natural calamities. And Kaushik's viewpoint is that it might not be the same, but like Arun said, since the Japanese government has faced natural disasters, they at least know how to face a disaster on such a scale. So that is there. Then, like Arun said, the situations are different. The Japanese situation is different and the Indian situation is different. And all of our points come into it. That is Ganesh's point that the age of the population is different. Similarly, education of the population comes into the same purview of situation. And also the means and methods used by each of the governments will vary. And most importantly, last was Arun's point on the continuous shift. The continuous shift is more seamless when it in the Japanese population, maybe because they're used to such disasters. Whereas in an Indian scenario, we are seeing very sudden, drastic changes, which as Indians we're not used to. Correct. Yeah. So I think that was a really good discussion on Ranjini's viewpoints. So
one more the population point mentioned by Koushik. That was a really good point.
Yeah, the population density.
Ganesh.
You both mentioned it. So
actually, on the population density, Koushik, I had one point to say. Yeah. Certain areas in Japan are really highly dense when it comes to population. In fact, if you look and research about it, I'm sure you will see a lot of information regarding how crowded Japanese trains are, almost as crowded as your Mumbai local trains. Yeah. Similarly, major cities like Tokyo, Hokkaido and all that, they also have a really high population density. So there, they will have to be more careful. It's almost as dense, if not more, compared to Indian population.
Shravan, absolutely. They are dense. I mean, population density is there. But the thing is, on a geographical scale, India is a much larger country, and with more than, I think, 29 states, 31 right now. Yeah. I think measures to be taken. You can't go to each state and each person or each place at least. Yeah. So I think doing that in Japan would be much more easier. And of course, there's an element of education, discipline, and obedience in Japan. For example, people, they are, and the punishments also, they are very systematic, and they follow rules. And I don't demean our country in any way, but you understand, right?
So that's what. So we've come to the end of our first discussion. Okay.